Hello, everybody, and welcome in live to another edition of Texas Longhorns here live, post-game edition. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Can you please give me a follow right there on X and like and subscribe this content down below to keep us growing? I really, really appreciate it, guys. Texas struggles 27-24, and offensively, man, we can't get out of our own way, whether that be penalties, whether that be turnovers, whether that be sloppy execution, which obviously leads to penalties. Something's got to be fixed going into this bye week. It's the second bye week. It's, in my opinion, the last time you'll see a big jump from a team. I don't think you'll see a big jump from Texas here on out if we don't get it fixed during the bye week. It's just not going to happen. Now, do I think we can be inconsistent with our play and play above our head once in a while? Absolutely, I do. But you're not going to get consistent week play if we don't fix some of the stuff we're doing in this bye week. And it bothers me. The defense is not the issue. Back-to-back games, the defense has given up 2 legitimate touchdown drives. Georgia game, they played on short fields. This game, they played in short fields. The only thing I have to say bad about the defense, you got to be more clutch in certain situations. You had a chance to get your team back in the game and possibly win the game last week versus Georgia. 3rd and 11, backed up in Georgia's own side of the field. You could not stop them. In this such situation as well, Vandy needs a touchdown or a field goal to continue to try to win this football game, and we allow them to go down the field and score that touchdown. So that's my only concern with the defense. Vernon Broughton, however you want to pronounce this man's last name, he's played fantastic this year. Moronic. CJ Vogel tweeted it, and I thought it before he even tweeted it. Moronic play. Diego Pavia is shuffling, trying to find someone. You do not need to launch at him, period. You know how college football is now. Listen, in my world, that's not a penalty. I like big hits like that, and I don't mind it. But this isn't 1990s, 1980s, 1970s football. This is modern-day football. You cannot launch like that. To me, you have him where you want him, shove him in the chest. If he does that, that's a pick six, game's over, Texas wins. And honestly, the score of the game probably would have reflected what it actually was. There was not a point ever in that game where I said Texas is going to lose. Ever. I never thought Texas was going to lose that football game, but I was pissed off at the execution of everything they did on the offensive side of the ball. Other than about 2 possessions, I thought they executed horribly. And I think most of you guys would agree with that. It was just terrible execution on all parts. And the funny thing is, coming to last week or after last week's Georgia game, everyone talked about Quinn Ewers. And I did as well. I didn't think he played a very good game versus Georgia. He did not step in the pocket. He consistently threw off his back foot. He did not see the wide receivers that were open down the field and not target them. This is on the offensive line. Period. This is on the offensive line. The offensive line, anytime we got in a rhythm, penalties. Anytime Quinn Ewers tried to make a play downfield, they allowed pressure. And if I'm a defense at this point, I'm blitzing up the middle consistently. The guards are not communicating with the center well enough to pick up these blitzes that are coming up the middle. And then the only offensive lineman to me that is playing up to his level is Kelvin Banks. He got another BS penalty. That was not a hold. But he's playing okay or good enough. Especially for like the standard he has to live up to. Is he playing up to? No, but he's playing good enough. Whereas Cameron Williams has lost a lot of money, guys. He's lost a lot of money for this Texas football team the past 2 weeks. I think he comes back at this point, unless something just completely changes in the bye week. He got his ass kicked versus Georgia. He got his ass kicked a couple times today. Any inside speed move, he struggles with mightily. He gets beat easily with inside speed rushes from the edge. And then if he's blocks them, well, guess what happens? He either holds or commits a pre-snap penalty. And guys, there were so many people in the comments after Mississippi State. I told you what to look out for Texas. They're struggling on offense. And there are so many Texas fans that said, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm done watching you. I have been right. And I don't want to be right. This team has struggled mightily. When is the last complete game Texas has had as a football team? I said, hell, when is the last offensive game they've had? I'd say the last good offensive game we played was Michigan week 2. That was the last good offensive game we played. Maybe you could argue Louisiana Monroe, but Louisiana Monroe's defense is bad. I'm talking about like real competition. And even then there were some snafus in that game where offense seemed like, what are you doing? And Sark's got to get it figured out. I think some of it's play calling. But a lot of his execution, it really is. But that's still on the coach. You got to figure it out, kick him in the butt sometimes. I don't think he's hard on him enough, honestly. You got to be Nick Saban crazy right now. You really do. There's so many bad things. Like, will we beat the Vandies of the world? Yes. Will we beat Kentucky? Yes. Will we beat Florida playing like this? Yes. We're not beating Texas A&M playing like this. And most likely, if Arkansas plays above their head like we've seen them do versus Tennessee and like we saw them today versus Mississippi State, they can beat us. So you have to play better. You absolutely have to play better. And there are even people who are insiders at this point are pissing me off because there were points in that game where I got on Twitter and they're like, oh, Texas is dominating on offense. And yes, at certain points they were, but they were not doing it on a consistent basis. Down in and down out, they were not dominating that Vanderbilt defense. There were certain plays, yes, but I'm talking about consistently on a down in and down out basis. Texas did not control that football game offensively. The offensive line did not get enough push to control that football game offensively. And I'll jump into your comments and questions real quick. I enjoy every win after one. I agree. I enjoy every win, Dan, but my heights are set to a national championship, and maybe I shouldn't be. But I look around the landscape of college football, and I see Ohio State struggled with Nebraska, and honestly, they've struggled with everyone they've played. I see Georgia struggle with everyone they played other than Texas. I see Alabama struggle with everyone they played and lose multiple games. I see Oregon's really, honestly, the only team that hasn't struggled. And early on, I take that back. Early on, they struggled, but it seems like they're getting their stuff together now. And I don't know what the issue is. I really don't. It's going to be interesting. I'll rewatch the game. It's going to hurt my eyes to do. I'm trying to get some all 22. I need to see all 22 because this offensive line, man, it's worrisome. It really is, especially Cameron Williams and DJ Campbell worry me a lot. That is the weakness on this offensive line. Kelvin Banks has played well enough. Jake Majors has played well enough. Hayden Connor's been inconsistent, but he's been our third best offensive lineman up until this point. Cameron Williams and DJ Campbell could cost us games in the future with the way they play. They have not been consistent enough on the right side of that offensive line. Some Texas fans think Sark needs to hire a play caller like Ryan Day. I didn't think his play calling was that bad because he actually ran the ball a lot more today, guys. That is one thing. We did try to establish the run. We ran for 104 yards in this game. Attempts-wise, we had 22. Quinn Ewers had 5, but it doesn't count. A lot of those were sacks. So 27 attempts running, 37 passing. Could we have gotten to 30 and lowered the passing attempts a little bit? Yeah, we could have. But overall, I'm not that angry at it. Trey Wisner, 4.6 yards per carry. Jane Blue, 4.7 yards per carry. Guys, to me in this game, it was the lack of execution and holding penalties. Like I said, every time we made a big play in the running game, holding or something else, something stupid. And we just continued to do that throughout the game. How Gunnar Helm, that first off, that wasn't a hold, but even to put yourself in a position to get a hold there, your block literally means nothing on that play. And it's just bad. I just don't understand what's happening with the offensive line. It's been a total regression. And we were talking about 3 weeks ago, and I was too. Like, this could have been one of the best offensive lines in the history of Texas football and all of college football, because all 5 of these guys at that point were going to get drafted, and you were going to have 2 first-round picks. Cam Williams ain't a first-round pick. If anything, Cam Williams will be back. I think DJ Campbell will be back at this point too. So that is cool. You'll get them back, but a total regression, honestly. And Kyle Flood's got to figure some things out. We still can't really run up the middle. Inside zone doesn't seem to be working at all. It's all outside zone, which is a big deal. And that's another point I wanted to get to. So I heard in the post-game show them talking for a second, and them talking about, I think we had over 150, somewhere between 150 and 200 yards after the catch. That doesn't fly with really good football teams. Guys, I watched the Urban Meyer Ohio State teams my whole life because I'm from Ohio and I live in Ohio, and I've been watching Ohio State a lot. They relied on swing passes and screens versus bad football teams. And guess what that did? They were able to move the ball very well. But then when they played a good football team, that doesn't work because, 1, the athletes make the tackles on the outside, and 2, they blow up your blocks. So that type of play calling will not work in the future like we saw versus Georgia. The swing passes weren't there. The screens were not there. Those teams can blow that stuff up. So we need to figure out how we can get this offensive line better to attack down the field. I will say, Quinn Ewers tried to attack today down the field. He completed the ball to DeAndre Moore on the slot fade for a touchdown. He tried later to Ryan Wingle, and then there was another player too as well where he kept trying to attack down the field. There was another Ryan Wingle one, I believe. So I think 3 or 4 shots down the field. He completed one of them. I think one of them ended up in a sack, and the other 2 were incomplete. But that is how you exploit really good defenses. So to me, if this team continues to play they're playing, guys, they're probably going to lose one more game, possibly two. Because you cannot, if you repeat that performance the last 2 weeks, basically, what you're doing, you're not beating Arkansas at their best. And even if Texas A&M plays a B game, I think you lose to them because you're on the road. So it really hurts me to say that, but that's just the case at this point. And people were calling me stupid a couple weeks ago because of what I saw. Guys, people need to stop looking at stats, and they need to stop looking at box scores and pay attention to what their eyes tell them. Because this team right now isn't playing well offensively. Defensively, it is. And honestly, if the offense would just stop turning the ball over, we might be able to beat a Texas A&M or an Arkansas with an off-day performance like this from the offense, because the defense is that good. The issue is giving other teams that short of a field to work with, because then they get exploited, they get tired, they get frustrated. You could see that at certain moments in this game. Jahdae Barron is the truth. At this point, I think he's going to be the Thorpe Award winner. Defensive line has done enough to stop the run. They don't get after the quarterback as well as I'd like them to, but they've gotten better at that. Malik Muhammad is good. He hasn't taken that next step where I thought he was going to this year. I thought he was going to be great. He has not done that. But overall, I can't complain with the defensive effort or the intensity or execution, honestly, on the defensive side of the ball. I can point to everything basically on the offensive side of the ball. One, I don't think the play calling is good enough. Was it good enough today? Yes. But I would like to see more inside zone, and I'd like to see more shots. Number two, I need to see you guys either max protect more or do something to help out this offensive line more, especially the right side of the offensive line. And we see why Amari Niblack is not playing, guys. The guy cannot block to save his life. He's held on one of the 5 or 6 plays he got in. So if you're going to use him, take shots with him, do not make him block. Next, I need to see the running backs pick up blitzes. Jaden Blue did not pick up a blitz today. I believe it was Jaden Blue, and it accounted for a Quinn Ewers sack. To me, Quinn Ewers today, he looked more confident. He stepped into more throws, and he did move in the pocket better. Now, was he great at all of those things? No. There were still plays in this game that I could point to, and on the rewatch I will point to, of where he could have stepped into the throws, he could have moved in the pocket better, and he could have pushed the ball downfield a little bit better. But overall, today is not on Quinn Ewers. I thought last week was more on Quinn Ewers. This week was way more on the offensive line. It's got to get fixed. And I would love for someone to ask Steve Sarkisian how he plans to address the basically shooting yourself in the foot with these penalties. Guys, we had over 100 penalty yards today. That is unacceptable. Yeah, it's just unacceptable. 10 penalties for over 100 yards, 2 turnovers as well. Like, if you cut the penalties down to 6 or 7, and then you cut the turnovers to 1 in this game, we win this game by 17-plus points. And time of possession, again, guys, we won. We did a good job with that. 28 minutes for Vandy, 31 there. Vanderbilt also did not reach over 300 yards, so we are yet to allow us offense to go over 300 yards. The defense is great. Nothing to complain about there. But overall, this team has got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. That is the biggest problem to me right now with this team, is shooting themselves in the foot. And it's got to stop. It definitely has to stop. And we'll find out if it does. We'll see if we can get this fixed going into the bye week. I believe we have Florida out of the bye week. Florida's not a great football team, and there's a real chance Billy Napier gets fired after this Georgia game if they get killed. But got to clean it up. That's really the biggest thing about this game, guys. Clean up these stupid mistakes. Clean up the shooting yourself in the foot. We're basically Plaxico Burress in the club right now. Gun in the waistband, pulling the trigger, shooting ourselves in the foot. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't get that reference, look it up. But that's what we are at this point, and it's got to stop on the offensive side of the ball and a little bit on the defense. I can't really harp on the defense, and I'm not going to. It is mostly an offensive problem, and that's really bothersome to me because we have an offensive-minded head coach. So the offense has to be better. I think when we do take shots down the field, you need to see more max protection. I'd like to see more max protection anyways. I think on any time we play action, you have to max protect. It's sad we're there at that point, but the right side of the offensive line is taking a step back for whatever reason, and Cameron Williams is definitely no longer a first-round pick. So, guys, this is another post-game show brought to you by me, Matthew Miller. Can you please hit that like button? Please subscribe down below. Guys, I would go on longer, but there's no one in here. This is the issue I have. We need to pump up this post-game. I'm getting more views on the live stream. I'm getting more views on my videos. I'm just not getting any on the post-game. Pump up the post game. Share this out. Like, subscribe. Please help us build the brand. Also, guys, we do have memberships now. So if you pay based on certain tiers, you can get a video request of what you want from me. If you request a video and you're a member, I will make that video. You will also get special emojis like Bevo, Hook'em, I believe we still have the golden hat on there as well, and we'll add more emojis, and we'll add emojis if you want us to add whatever emoji you would like. So please check that out. Go to the YouTube homepage and check that out for me. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. And Texas does get that win coming off a loss. We still haven't lost back-to-back games since 2021. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hook 'em and like and subscribe. Thank you very much.